Tess Yerkes and her bag. Tess, her bag. Mark Yerkes, his bag. Mark Yerkes, his bag.
All right.
Her bag, Tess. Hey everybody, Mark Yerkes here. I'm out in the plaza at Paralia, Katerinis, which is a beach resort area here in Greece, right on the Aegean Sea. And Tess right now is back at the apartment, relaxing, I think doing some laundry. And I took the opportunity to come out this morning and just kind of give you a little roadmap of what we are going to be doing in the next few weeks. First of all, this is out of my normal realm of comfort. I'm doing what's called a vlog or video log, which means that I have no script, I have done no writing, which is exactly what I feel most comfortable with. I like to have something prepared for you so that I can do the best work that I can. Here, you're going to get the flaws, the mistakes, so I ask you to be gentle and kind to me. I'm trying my best, but this is new to me. Okay, just to let you know, Tess arrived a few days ago in the evening in Greece at Athens airport. We had a couple days there and then we had to rush out. We caught a train to come to Paralia. And we're going to be spending about 6-7 days here. This is the longest place that we are staying, just to unwind, to relax, for Tess and I to get to know each other again after almost 2.5 years of being apart because of the coronavirus. For those of you who don't know, Tess and I were in Rome when in March of 2020, when the whole coronavirus thing exploded and they started locking down Rome. We had plans to go up to Florence and to visit a lot of great locations, and as it turns out the train stopped running, and then pretty soon they were talking about closing the airport. They had already made it so you couldn't go to a restaurant, you couldn't go to any of the historic sites or the museums, so it was kind of messed up. But we didn't want to end after only like 3 or 4 days of a hard-fought vacation. So we ended up escaping to Zurich, Switzerland. And in Zurich, we were one night, were able to eat at a restaurant, and then the next day they started doing the same thing there, locking everything down, closing down the museums. So still, it was a good thing because it was the first time Tess had finally gotten a Schengen visa, and so it opened the door for us for the future. Well, after Tess got back to the Philippines, there was like 2 years where the entire country was locked down. Other countries were not accepting travelers coming from the Philippines, and in the Philippines they were not accepting foreigners coming in. So it wasn't until maybe 4 months ago when things started lightening up and there was a little bit of reciprocity and allowing people to come back and forth. And so about 3.5 months ago, Tess and I finally applied for a visa for her to come to Greece. I've been in Turkey and I was in Albania, and so we made arrangements for her to come over and meet me in Athens. Well, she was supposed to get an appointment right away. We contacted by email, and then it was a matter of having to wait until they contact you to come in. Well, guess what? About 2.5 months passed. With less than 2 weeks before her flight was supposed to come, she still did not have an appointment. And then finally she got the appointment, rushed over there, and then she had to go away. And it wasn't until about 4 days before her flight that she finally got to contacted to come and pick up her visa. And she did, and opened it up. She didn't know that she had the actual Schengen visa until she opened up her passport, and there it was. But bad news was that we had lost our flight reservation for her, which meant we had to rebook. And guess what happened to the prices of airline tickets in the intervening 3 months? Right, sky high. So we had to buy another round-trip ticket, and she did finally make it. So through all the problems, and we praise God for that. We thank all of you who prayed for us. It was really, we needed help from on high. So that's the story of how Tess and I finally got together. Because we only had a couple days, because Tess was tired from the travel, we only went to some of the easy places to go to at Athens that I had been to before. Monastiraki area, which is more of a tourist location. From there, she was able to take some pictures of the Acropolis from down below. We took one of those bus tours, the double-decker buses, and that's good if you are ever visiting Athens or any major city that you've never been to. It's a good idea if you can do that, because it gives you an orientation of the city and helps you know what other places that you might want to come back to. It is a hop-on, hop-off bus. So if you're going to take that, the route in Athens is about a 90-minute trip, round trip. We did that first and then decide where we wanted to go after that, because we had a one-day ticket, and actually they had a deal. It was 1 day plus 1 day. We didn't use the plus 1 day because we had to travel. But that's basically what we did. Had a couple great meals over at the market, the central market, where the fish, the wet market, the fishes are all right there, and they have seafood restaurants, and we had a terrific meal. And guess what? I forgot to videotape it, so sorry, maybe we'll get one to you in the future. In the meantime, yesterday we traveled by train. We came up here to Paralia, Katerinis, which is about 80% of the way to Thessaloniki, going north. So we're not too far from Thessaloniki, and just to give you an idea of the route that we're going to be taking, after we leave here, we will be going to Thessaloniki for about 3 days. From there, we go to a place called Kavala, which is another seaport city, and that is actually the location of the ancient city of Neapolis. If you remember from the book of Acts, when Paul crossed over into Macedonia, that was the port he landed in. And just a few miles from, maybe 6 to 10 miles from there, heading further north, is Philippi. So we will be taking a day trip to the ruins of Philippi once we get there. After that, we will come back, spend 1 day in Thessaloniki, and then head down the coast and across to central Greece to a place known as Meteora. Meteora is these big geological pillars on which ascetic monks built monasteries. About 1,000 years ago they started living there, maybe a little more than 1,000 years ago, and then they built monasteries over the following hundreds of years. They used to live in caves. So that's an interesting place. If you saw there was one of the James Bond movies where James had to climb up this side pillar, and they had this lift that took him up there, and he fought all the bad guys. Well, that was one of the monasteries at Meteora. So we will be staying in the city, which is, or it's not even a city, it's a village basically, down below for a couple, 3 days, visiting at least one of the monasteries. And then from there we head back to Athens for a few days. That's when Tess will be able to, with me, walk up the Acropolis to see the Parthenon. And then down, she is insisting on going to the Areopagus, so it's going to be a long walk and a long day in the heat of August. That was another thing we had not planned on. We were trying to get here early before the big heat. Actually, right now, it's quite nice where I'm at. This is early morning, of course, but it's quite nice considering it's up to about 30 degrees centigrade, mid-80s, low 90. But boy, in 3-4 weeks into August, coming into August, it's going to get hot. It'll be over 100 degrees and a lot of humidity. So anyways, that's something to look forward to, and hopefully it doesn't wear us out. When we get back to Athens, we will enjoy a few days there, see some of the major sites, be able to get, and by the way, I may be giving you some travel hints along the way, and here is one of them. It may be a good deal. You need to check out and compare the prices, but 3 major sites in Athens are of course the Acropolis, maybe the Acropolis Museum, the ancient Forum where the Apostle Paul actually was preaching and teaching people, and then was the Areopagus, which is midway in height between the Acropolis and the Forum. So if you were wondering what just happened, I lost my battery and the space on my memory card, my SD card. So I had to replace those, and we'll pick it up again. That kind of happens. The batteries only last about 20 minutes in my camera. Fortunately, I have multiple batteries. But here's where I was talking, I think. I was talking about the fact that you can get multiple entry passes to multiple sites in Athens. You can do them all in 1 or 2 days, and it may save you some money. But you need to check, because if you only want to go to a couple, 1 or 2 of the major sites, then it might be better off to just buy a ticket at the entrance. For example, entering the Roman Forum, where the Apostle Paul was teaching, and then from there he was invited to come up to speak to the philosophers up on the Areopagus Hill. If you want to go just to the Forum, that entry is 10 euros. And 10 euros is about equivalent to 10 US dollars nowadays. The euro has fallen against the strength of the US dollars. I think this is the first time in 11 years that it's been on a parity. So it's a good time if you are an American with US dollars to be able to travel. So here's what's happening. When I get to Thessaloniki, I will be putting together some more videos of some of the historic sites that relate to Christianity. But they will not be videos ultimately edited like the previous videos on the Obscure Christian History channel. And the reason why is that, as you well know, it takes me at least about 3 weeks to edit together a video because of all the work and the research, the script writing, as well as looking for the proper videos and clips to be able to use in the video and the editing. So it takes a long time to do any particular video, other than doing vlogging, which I'm doing now. So we look forward to getting out the next video to you. In the meantime, there are shots here of things that we encounter. Maybe even they will be added into the video when we come approaching into Thessaloniki. One thing I will mention is last night, after we ate dinner along the beach here, it's a long beach area along this coast, and the main road is just off of the beach area. So there's restaurants, there's all kinds of souvenirs and all kinds of shops that have not only stuff for swimming in the ocean, but clothing. So Tess really is enjoying it. But in the main square here, behind me, you can see the church, the main Orthodox church of the square, and the pier heads out from the square. Last night they had I guess it's kind of it wasn't a competition. There was like 6 countries represented. Obviously Greece, there was Serbian singers, there was Romanian singers, Polish, and Sweden, and another country I don't remember at the moment. But it was getting so late. By the way, that's one of the things that we need to do some adjusting, or at least Tess needs to do some adjusting to, because the sun starts coming up around 5 or 5:15 a.m. and doesn't set until about 8:45 or 9 p.m. So it's a long day, and that's why it does get hot here in the summer. So it's taking some getting used to on her part. But so it was 9 o'clock, but by the time they got things started, so we just watched one group sing, and then we headed back to the apartment. We have a nice apartment, by the way, and very fortunate to have it. I was able to cook breakfast this morning. It's one of the things that Tess has always enjoyed when we're together, is that I cook for her. So for right now, God bless you. Thank you so much again for keeping us in your prayers, and we will talk to you, God willing, very soon. God bless.